All right, so I've always wondered, why don't I ever want to do the hard work? Back when I first started self-improvement, my daily routine consisted of nothing productive. I know I needed to study, but I didn't freaking study. I know I needed to record the videos, but I was too infatuated with my crush to do anything. I wanted to know how to do stuff. I wanted to do things because I was bored. My grandma has this joke about me. She's like, if you're not doing anything, you are bored. Because I am. I was. All the time, constantly. I was just bored. I never understood why I didn't have any motivation. I never understood why I couldn't just find anything to freaking help me get to what I wanted to do. I wanted to be productive, but I just felt like I couldn't do anything. I was too lazy. The reason why you're lazy, and it took me a long time to freaking realize this, but now that I realize it, it's like one of the most mind-blowing things. The reason why you're lazy is because you do too many of the bad habits that you can't even feel good when you're trying to do any good ones. The bad habits, they rise your dopamine levels, but after you're done with the activity, they drop. They drop significantly. When you're on the chase, when you're on the rise of dopamine, it goes up. Your dopamine levels go up because you just want to eat that junk food. You know when you're about to accomplish something and you feel super hype, like you're really close towards a certain goal. Like if you're in a race and you're almost at the finish line, you're so pumped, you're like, yes, 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 I'm about to go, I'm about to win. That's dopamine rising in your body. After you cross that finish line, after you have the ribbon in your hand or anything, or whatever, after a few minutes, you just like, that's it? That's nothing else. Wow. Okay. I'm proud of myself. Yeah, I'm proud of but that's honestly it. That's when your dopamine levels go back down to your baseline. But the thing is with the instant gratification activity, like eating junk food, like video games, like scrolling on Instagram or something. The thing is with those activities is that your dopamine levels don't go back to your baseline. They go below your baseline. And wherever that stops, I guess, that's where your new baseline is. And your baseline is your like normal day-to-day level of happiness. So the more you do the instant gratification activities, the more instant pleasure you're gonna have. Like, oh yeah, I feel so good because I'm eating some junk food, right? After that, it just goes here back to baseline. It goes a little bit below. So then your baseline level of happiness, you're a little bit less happy. After a few weeks, after months, after years, your baseline level of happiness is such a drastic difference. The margin in between them is huge. Because maybe before it used to be here when you didn't even know about instant gratification activities and you were just playing outside or something, right? And now it's all the way the freaking down here after months of doing the instant gratification activities. So you might wonder, why did I feel happier a few years ago compared to now? That's why. That's the reason why you don't feel happy anymore. That's the reason you don't feel as happy. Because you're just giving into too much instant gratification. That the more you give into it, the less happy you become. Because you're chasing the instant pleasure, you get the instant pleasure, and then it doesn't go back to baseline, to go below your baseline level of happiness. So that becomes your new baseline. Go it again, boom. Go it again, boom, boom, boom. And it goes down, 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 down. So how does this relate to not being able to do any work? Dopamine it can be the pleasure hormone, right? The chemical reaction inside of your body that makes you feel happy. But scientists, especially Andrew Huberman, has actually found through countless studies that dopamine isn't only like the pleasure reaction in your body. It's more of the motivation to the chase towards something. So like I said before, if let's say you want to eat some cake and you see the cake, your dopamine levels rise when you feel like doing it, When you feel like eating the cake, like, oh, that cake looks so good, I want to eat it. So then you get the spoon, and then you pick it up, and then it goes in your mouth. Your dopamine levels are higher than ever. You eat it, so good, good, good. It tastes delicious. The cake tastes delicious in my mouth, the chocolate, right? After that, after a few minutes, your dopamine level goes down and below baseline. Dopamine is at its peak when the motivation is at its peak. When you're right about to put the cake in your mouth, when you're right about to eat it, right? That's when motivation's at its peak. And dopamine is pretty much motivation. So if the dopamine goes below baseline, your motivation also goes below baseline. So the reason you don't feel like doing any work because you're not motivated is because your motivation is pretty much non-existent after months and years of bad habits. And also, another side note is that you're overstimulating your mind through the instant gratification activities. So when you're trying to study, when you're trying to do homework, when you're trying to edit videos, when you're trying to be productive in the gym or something, too many thoughts are going on in your head and you're not stimulated enough. You're so used to listening to podcasts, listening to music, listening to so many things while you're working. You're so used to scrolling on TikTok while you're doing a math equation. You're so used to listening to music, listening to the TV, and having your phone on all at the same time. You're overstimulated. So when you try to do one single task without any distraction, it's like the hardest, mind-boggling thing in the world. It's like the hardest thing to do. So another reason why you can't be forced, why you can't do the work, is because you're not used to being alone. You're not used to being focused in on one thing because your mind is focused in on so many other things. So when you're trying to freaking read a book, it's like the hardest thing in the world. So how do you combat this? How do you combat all of this? You have to start by delaying your own personal gratification. So there is this very easy guideline that you probably should follow. And honestly, if you just understand this, you can implement what is the delayed gratification in your everyday life. So instant gratification activities are easy to do, but they make your life worse in the long run. So it's really easy to eat the delicious cake and the chocolate and vanilla, and it's so delicious. Like, that's easy to get into. But if you eat a cake every single day because it's easy, if you eat junk food, processed food every single day, you're eventually going to get fat. You're eventually not going to like your body. You're going to fucking feel like a loser. It's easy to do right now. It's easy to watch some things you shouldn't right now. It's easy to play video games right now. It's easy to watch some TV. It's easy to scroll on TikTok and Instagram and social media. It's easy to not do anything right now. But that makes your life worse in the long run. That makes you more of a loser than what you already are. On the other hand, the delayed gratification activities are hard to get into. They are very difficult to start doing. It's difficult to start reading. It's difficult to start doing homework. It's difficult to start recording. It's difficult to edit. It's difficult to go to the gym. It's difficult to eat healthy. But those difficult things make your mind so used to being in uncomfortable situations, which makes your mind grow. It makes your abilities to withstand pain and discomfort much higher. David Goggins calls this callousing your mind. Like calluses, like on your hand here? That's a callus, right? It's giving your mind armor. It's armoring your mind to make it be able to withstand the hard delaying gratification activities. It's making it easier to allow yourself to get into those into those hard delayed gratification activities. And eventually, once you do them enough, it just becomes like normal. So when you first started eating healthy, it was hard, but after a year, it's no problem. It's hard to start getting into the gym, but after a year, you start to see progress, and boom, wow, it's not that hard anymore. It's just part of my routine. I just go lift some weights, right? That's the same thing. So just start by doing more delayed gratification activities. Actually, my theology teacher, he's such a knowledgeable person. I love him with all my heart. He's one of my favorite teachers. He says you can't really get rid of habits. You can't get rid of vices. The good habits are called virtues. The bad habits are called vices. You can't get rid of vices, but you can replace vices with virtues. So let's say a very simple example. Instead of eating bad today, you don't cut the bad food out, like entirely. You replace the food. Instead of eating a pizza, you replace the pizza with some chicken, some vegetables, some salmon, some rice, right? Some healthy food. Instead of cutting out video games, instead of like taking that out, you don't take it out, you replace it with something else. For me, I replaced scrolling on social media with the gym. I replaced video games with the gym. It's the same exact thing. When you're playing a video game, you're chasing the next level in the game. Next level, right? Next level, next level, next level. That's the same thing in the gym. So I just replaced it. How is it similar? How are video games and the gym similar? Just like how you're leveling up in the video game, you're leveling up in the gym. Instead of gaining more XP points or something, you're gaining more weight on bench, on squat, or on deadlift, or just you're gaining more muscle. Instead of getting new skins in a game, you're getting a new body every single day that you work out. Although you might not see it day to day, like, oh, I just look the same. When you look at a mirror picture from a year ago and you've been training for a year and a half, 2 years, 3 or 4 years, 5 years, whatever, you're like, shit, I made so much progress. This looks fucking insane. That's the real life version of video games. Going to the gym. You don't get rid of habits, you replace habits. So replace the instant gratification activities with the delayed gratification activities. After a long time of this, and after fixing your own mental health through meditation, through gratitude and mindfulness, after you fix your mental health, and after you start doing the delayed gratifications more frequently, that's when you'll be able to start doing more work. That's when you'll be able to freaking get work done. That's how you're going to get better grades. That's how your parents aren't going to get mad at you for being a bad student. And that's the right way to live. This video has been away. Like, subscribe, do the hard work down to the later. Comment down below if you had any questions or anything. I'm gonna answer them. Do the hard work down to the later. As always, nice. See.